Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the start of the third round of the HTL Cup Series season. We arrive to Homestead-Miami Speedway. 200 miles, 133 laps, sit between at least 36 drivers and a chance at a race win tonight. 42 drivers set to attempt to qualify for this field tonight. 6 drivers going home. Who are those 6 going to be? We'll find out here shortly. Here on ABN Esports 1, ABN's coverage of the HTL Cup Series begins now. I'm Carmen, Sienna. I'll be alone in tonight's coverage. Christina Ryan away dealing with an illness. We hope she gets better soon. We hope to see her back next week at a track she loves so much. 1.5 miles is a lap here around Homestead-Miami Speedway. Progressive banking denoted in these corners, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, symmetrical in how they are defined. Turn 3 and 4, a little bit higher banking, makes it easier to run both inside and outside on this track, and you'll see that feature tonight as everyone scrambles for clean air and real estate throughout this field, especially early on. You'll see a lot of that scrambling take place. Tire wear will become a critical factor. Any green flag runs will be denoted by tire conservation, tire life, tire health, and making sure you've got clean air to the front of that car. Patience, we talked about it all season long. We talked about it at the season opener at Daytona, talked about it at the road course last week, talked about it tonight. We'll be talking about it next week. Patience is critical for 36 cars, especially if you're starting mid-pack or further. You're going to need to have it. Likewise, in the race, right now it's dark on track. Qualifying will take place in the daytime. The race itself will be a transitional race from day to night. You have to stay on top of that car as that car's balance shifts and changes. The fastest laps will come probably either at the very beginning of the race or at the very end of the race. Everything in between is just setting up and adjusting to what the final 10 laps will be and shifting away from the beginning 10 laps. Those that typically do well at the start of this race are not the ones that do well at the end of this race. We'll see if anyone breaks that trend here tonight. 78 degrees the air temp, 80 degrees the track temp. Again, that'll fluctuate throughout tonight's broadcast. We'll see it a lot different in qualifying, and we'll see it change throughout the race as well. Very windy. 18-mile-an-hour winds. That wind is going to stay pretty high, and that will have an effect on cars throughout qualifying. Single car qualifying, each driver has exactly 1 flying lap to get it right. 56% humidity, that will go up in the daytime, so track will be a little bit stickier for qualifying, and then it'll come back down for the race itself. So a lot of changing variables coming up here in Homestead-Miami, and a track that is so critical on getting everything right, because again, only 1 lap. It's not a pin it to the floor and hope. You're going to have to be precise on your lap times here tonight, and we'll walk through everything going on here. And that, as we say that, the amount of the cars that are going to be in this field have expanded from 42. Now there's 45 just over the last couple minutes. So the margin for error has gotten smaller for the uncharted cars. 32 charters, all locked in. 15 up to 15 cars trying to qualify for 4 uncharted spots. As it sits right now, that's 9 going after 4 spots. But 15 have stated their intention to join in. We'll see how many of those actually join in here with qualifying set to begin here shortly. But we see 45 total entries on the entry list right now. Very wild stuff here going on early on at the moment. See top 20 on your screen at the moment with 5 minutes left in practice. Joel Rodriguez in pit lane. The top 3 all in pit lane. Bobby Blowers, Joel Rodriguez, and John Hagan all in pit lane. The fastest driver out on track at the moment is Brandon Proudfoot. With 5 minutes to go in this race. Proudfoot actually drifting through 3 and 4. Get that man a ESDA license. That was impressive. Crazy stuff there, but Brandon Proudfoot showing off his skills early on. Drifting through the entirety of 3 and 4. And he's doing it again. A little bit of show off right there. Proudfoot is. Did on the high lane, did on the low lane. This one he's not going to save, though. And a huge hit. I want to say it's by Nathan Eastep. It is by the 12. Driver making their debut in this series tonight is John Smeal. Winner in the RX Ignition Series. Making his debut tonight for the 38 car for Carolina Beagle Racing. Pennsylvania native right now sits 15th fastest on the times at the moment as they run. That car is uncharted, so you will see this 38 car battling for its life in qualifying. Another driver battling for their life in qualifying is Callie Height. Queen's Design driver. Missed out on the 300, but was comfortably at the road course last week. Not so comfortable tonight, only 28th fastest for that 66 car, as that car comes to a stop near the exit of pit lane. Likewise, Matthew Boone, a chartered car, the 28 car behind Seth Wansing. Seth Wansing not locked in, sitting 17th. Matthew Boone is locked in, the Season 2 champion, sitting in 20th spot. Wansing himself in 17th. Look at drivers needing to race their way in. You'd be looking at Blowers, who is back on track. That 34 car from Melon Rave Racing. Right now in a phenomenal spot, top of the board. If you can replicate that in qualifying, he will be easily in the race. But as we mentioned before, only one flying lap in qualifying. You have to be millimeter perfect. Blowers has run 67 laps so far in practice with a minute and change left in the session. Rodriguez has run 71 laps. You look further down the list, Chad Swatsworth for Arrowhead Racing has run 91 laps. I think that's probably the most laps that anybody runs so far in practice. I don't see anyone really even close to that. Elias Flores running 77 laps. Apperson running 78. Wansing in 84. The Swatsworth easily putting down the miles in practice. That 18 car sitting 9th place in the practice times so far tonight. Again, practice wrapping up here. Again, for everyone that is just now tuning in and spending your Monday evening with us, a very busy Monday evening here with us here on ABN. I'm Carmen, Sienna. Thank you all for spending your time with us here on a wonderful Monday for racing. By Blowers, the fastest driver so far in practice times. We're following him. There's Swatsworth. Swatsworth in that double mitt, number 18. Right now, teammates there. That is Swatsworth and Caitlin Height for Arrowhead Racing. Both of them working together. Logging in some pretty decent laps. As the checkered flag falls. on practice. We will shift into qualifying here momentarily. So let the games begin officially. This will be a wild ride here tonight at Homestead-Miami. You see the conditions change dramatically here. Put the weather information on the side. The wind is still very high, 16-mile-an-hour winds. They're going up almost southwest is what it looks like right now. 144 degrees. That is between that's southwest pretty easily there. 80 degrees the air temp. Track temp 102 degrees. The track's gotten a lot harder, a lot slipper, a lot more slippery. Wow, English failed there. So let's go over starting order for qualifying. Everyone's going to be qualifying in a particular order that is predetermined by the previous race. So drivers that did not take part in last week's event will be at the top of the list. So you'll see a lot of the uncharted cars that did not qualify last week. They will have their go first. After that, we will see everyone in inverse order. So if you finished last at the Daytona Road Course last week, you're qualifying first of those that raced last week. That being said, it is a very dense top of that list for uncharted cars. So even if you made the field, you're not in the top 10 on that starting list. Caleb Eichler will be the first driver to roll out here. The 45 machine for Arrowhead Racing did not attempt to qualify, I don't believe, for the race at Daytona last weekend. There's Caleb Eichler on your screen right now, the rookie from Beaumont, Texas. You'll see a lot of support here, especially among this team. There is a ribbon on the hood of that car. That hood, a tribute to the uncle of Dylan McDonald, who passed away last week. A lot of tributes have been pouring in for McDonald and his family over the past week, and that continues tonight, and we see that first thing here in qualifying. So Eichler will start qualifying in earnest. Again, one flying lap. Eichler's got to get it right. Riding along that seam on the bottom. You'll see different strategies. Who runs the bottom, who runs the top. Both would be viable in theory. We'll see how many use it in practice. Eichler struggling to keep it down there on the inside lane at 3 and 4. Cross the line. Eichler's first lap enough for a 33.85. Withers on track next. His first lap's going to be completed here, 34.35. A lot more danger there for Tommy Withers. Not what he wanted to see in that situation in the slightest. I believe next up on that list should be Kevin Feemster. See who's starting up next. I don't believe I see. There's William Britton. William Britton, the Corvallis, Oregon native. Currently sitting in 4th position at the moment. John Smeal also getting out on track here as Britton starts his first and only flying lap tonight. We'll pull up the qualifying order here in a few minutes once we get some cars on track here. Only 2 cars set lap times so far. Eichler with a 33.85, the driver to beat. Withers a 34.35. William Britton Rounding turn 4, heading to the start-finish line. Where does he end up here in the timing charts? Top of the board, another 3.85, matches Eichler. So Eichler showing that he is in a good spot right now. Here's Smeal finishing his lap. A little bit more of a shotgun for a qualifying format here. 2 cars going out at the on track in a staggered formation. John Smeal goes 3rd fastest. Looks like Blowers will be next up here on the qualifying block. He was fastest in practice. Can he replicate that in qualifying? 4 cars have set times so far in this session. Blowers and Merchant next on track. You're looking at Blowers. Pull up the track information there. There's 34 of Blowers, the 84 of Merchant. Half a track behind to ensure that they don't have any draft interference on these laps. Blowers starts his lap. Merchant will be coming up here soon. And again, uncharted cars that did not start the race last week, qualifying first here at Homestead. 4 cars have qualified. Once we get through this section of qualifiers, we will pull the timing screen up. Flowers in the 34. Where does he go? 3rd fastest. Only 3rd fastest for Flowers. How about Merchant? For 1MA Racing, can Merchant go near the top of the board? Answer to that question is no. Bottom of the board. 34.36 for Jared Merchant. And already we know that Merchant is out. Merchant will not qualify. Blake Galloway, another Menards machine, this time a Chevrolet. Blake Galloway, heroics at 300 to get into the field a couple weeks ago. Can he do that same thing tonight? A little bit of Lindsay there for Galloway. Not sure if he's the 5 or the 51. Our information has 51 for Blake Galloway. See if we can get that rectified here shortly. But Galloway on the back straightaway. Another car on track is Ryan Pinnell. Galloway finishing his lap time here. Qualifying underway. There's the timer. That's how much time we have left to get qualifying completed. Galloway went 3rd fastest. Ryan Pinnell went 4th fastest. And now we look, I believe we're going to be looking towards Caitlin Height. Indeed, we will be looking towards Caitlin Height. Championship contender last season, has not had a start to remember in this race. 5th place in the 300, but dead last, 36th last week. So a little bit of a issue there with our overlay. See if we can get that corrected. There we go. Caitlin Height on track here at the moment, as well as, I believe it's the Ada Peltier Sharp. Indeed, it will be the Ada Peltier Sharp. Both these drivers were the last cars to finish at the Daytona Road Course last week. Caitlin Height One of the first charters to run goes top of the board immediately, 33.58. Where does Pelletier slot in? The French driver. Another chartered entry. She'll slot in 6th. With Ryan Moutre up next. So Caitlin Height takes the top spot from William Britton. William Britton still looks decent right now with that 33.8. Does beg the question on where cars such as Wanzing and Height, where do they slot into all of this? As well as Scott Sprinkle, the 20. Still some very intriguing question marks here throughout this qualifying order. Moutre and Morse on track now. Moutre going into turns 3 and 4. Where does he go here? What side of this timing tower will he go towards? Top or the bottom? Where does he go? Moutre crosses the line, 2nd place. Phenomenal qualifying effort so far from Moutre. How about Connor Morse? One in New Smyrna. Where does his lap time go? He jumps Moutre, 2nd place. For the Lady Liberty Motorsports driver. Jeremy Breo. Last year's RX-A Cup Series champion, won the championship in this car. Now racing for Carolina Beagle Racing in this series. Made his debut last week. Excuse me, made his debut in the 300, excuse me. What can Breo do qualifying-wise? This is a chartered car. Doesn't matter where this 88 car qualifies. Right now, Brad doing a good job. Looking decent on the timing and scoring at the moment as it runs. Dylan McDonald also on track right now as Breo comes around. Out of 4. Where does the driver from Pittsfield, Massachusetts go? Jeremy Breo, he will go 11th fastest. Not the best lap time in the world. Dylan McDonald. We know what he's gone through, and he's in the wall. I think that's an invalidated lap. He will start this race in the back of the field. Not a valid lap time. That contact with the wall, invalidation. So McDonald will start from the rear. First driver we've seen invalidate the lap time by tagging the wall there. Not a great start. Up next, bit of a team change as Hunter Whitlock fills in for Chris Pindell. Driving for Deep Racing, the NFG Motorsports main guy. Now a super sub in that number 94 machine. His best finish came at a different mile and a half at Charlotte over a year ago. Hunter Whitlock crossing start-finish line. Start his run. Alongside him in the qualifying queue right now, also on track, is the leader of Lady Liberty Motorsports, Kevin Gibney Jr. Chris Pindell will go 11th fastest on the board. Kevin Gibney in the 31 goes 9th fastest. On track now will be Bryn Roberts, the 33 car for 1MA Racing. This is another chartered car. This team's got 2 cars in this race. One of them already bounced from qualifying. Now is the 84 Merchant, who is currently at the very bottom of the qualifying list. Bryn Roberts not having to worry about that so far. Where does he go in that 33 car tonight? Finished 4th in the 300. Also on track at the moment is the 24 of Cole Snyder. Bryn Roberts rolling around right now, coming out of 4. His teammate, currently 15th and last. Where does he go? On the board, he goes 3rd fastest. Near the top for Bryn Roberts. Cole Snyder crosses the finish line. He will join him on that second row provisionally. 3rd place. He'll move Roberts down 1. Matthew Boone up next. They've been starting a lap time. Same with Chad Swatsworth. Matthew Boone coming around turns 3 and 4 here. What lap time does the Season 2 champion post? Matthew Boone, 5th fastest. Not a bad lap time for the Unforgiven Motorsports driver. Where does Swatsworth go as well? Former race winner in this series goes 3rd fastest. So Arrowhead Racing has 2 cars in the top 3. Not a bad run of form there for Swatsworth, who's currently sitting top 3 at the moment. Zach Apperson now 100% back in earnest for Tombstone Motorsports. They missed him most of last season. A pair of 2nd place finishes are his peak finishes so far in the series. Still looking for that breakthrough first win in a series that has gotten a lot harder to win in. Apperson keeps it off the wall just barely to start his lap. Josh Arnold also on track right now as well, the 55 car, to qualify. Apperson smooth and steady out of turn number 2. Down the back straightaway. Apperson out of 4. Lot tighter that time. And Apperson goes 6th fastest. How about Josh Arnold? Where does he go in all of this? A lot of latency there for Arnold. Cross start finish line. Arnold goes 4th fastest. Speed's increasing near the top of the board. Angel Santiago up next. A little latency there. Santiago on track right now at the moment. Who else is joining him? I believe it's Alfred Denny that's joining him. It is Alfred Denny that's joining him. So 2 more deep racing cars rolling around. See what Santiago's lap looks like here. Santiago goes 18th fastest. Alfred Denny, does he do better than his teammate here? For deep racing, he does. 17th fastest for Alfred Denny. Nathan Estep getting on track now. That 12 car. Again, chartered ride there. Trying to race in. Estep on track at the moment. Joining Estep here in qualifying will be Elias Flores here shortly. Estep running the middle lane here. Unusual for this time lap. Actually, looks like DJ Anderson's also running. See where Estep's lap puts him in an unconventional line compared to what we've seen so far. Where does Estep go? 22nd place. Likewise, DJ Anderson, handful in that number 19 car. He'll go 25th, bottom of the board. Then we'll have Elias Flores. It's supposed to be an Ascent Racing paint that may not have loaded incorrectly. Training paints giving us a lot of fits right now. You see the spec map hinting at the Ascent Racing colors. Not sure where they're at right now, though. Jake Millsap, however, does look 100% complete there. That Max number 13 machine set to run some laps here. The latency there for Millsap. So Millsap in this process. We're trying to figure out technical issues here real quick. Millsap went 20th fastest. Flores went 24th. And now Kyle Taub next up on that list. A winner in the APAT Challenge in HTL at Kentucky. Lots change for Kyle Taub in the time since. A little bit of latency there for Kyle Taub as well. Not sure if that's on his end or our end. As we're trying to rectify the situation here, Kyle Taub. Little cross start finish line. What lap time does he put down on the board? I believe he's just now starting his lap time now. Him and Gary Donaldson both on track. Now Taub representing the Miami Marlins at home. And Taub goes 10th fastest. Not a bad run. Gary Donaldson up next to cross start finish line. Where does Donaldson go? 18th fastest for the 22 car. California native will start currently so far in the top 20. However, a lot of cars left to qualify here. In this session, we have seen 29 cars set lap times. One of them failed to qualify a lap time. Dylan McDonald, he will start at the back of the field. He is a chartered entry. He is in. Next up should be Blake Henderson. See if he is on track. Here he is. The body armor number 25. Attacking turn 3. This is his outlap. And he's going to tag the wall for good measure on his outlap. Not good for pace. This will make his single flying lap a bit of a struggle here. Henderson. What sort of lap time can we expect from the 25? 140 down to 2, 3, and 4. Henderson's lap time, it is good enough for 11th place. Hunter Peach finishing a lap as well across the line. Where does the one car go? 11th place. So they'll share the 6th row provisionally. Up next is John Hagan. Driving the 64, the U.S. Army Ford Mustang. Where does he go here? John Hagan out of turns 3 and 4. That 64 car, where does he go? Top of the board? Yes, he does! Top of the board by John Hagan. 33.49. With Eli Sasek up next. Sasek will not come close to doing the same thing. 13th place for the 9 car. With Zachary Meredith, the defending series champion, coming out on track now. You want to talk about teams being represented? Meredith representing his favorite team, the Buffalo Bills. As Taub represents the Marlins. Meredith will represent the Bills. Seth Wansing also getting on track as well. The Zero Machine just launching here. So we'll see where Meredith ends up. Interesting run of form for Zach Meredith. Would love to kick off his championship defense with a win. We'll see what he can do here. Trying out a new drone cam here, rolling through turns 3 and 4 behind that 17 car, who gets really close to the outside wall. But goes 9th fastest. Wanzing up next. The peculiar Missouri native. Where does he go in this? 6th fastest for Seth Wanzing. Callie Hyde up next. Did a phenomenal job. Start the season at the road course last week for her. What can the 66 car do tonight? Not chartered, so in serious jeopardy if this lap time doesn't go well. Lap underway for Height. Mind you, there are 2 Heights, Caitlin and Callie. Dynamic duo trying to qualify for this race. Caitlin Height locked in based on having a charter for Arrowhead Racing. Callie Height not so fortunate. Out of 4. Where does the Queen's Design driver go? 8th place. Phenomenal stuff for Callie Height. That was a much needed lap time here tonight. Another uncharted car, Scott Sprinkle. Not so fortunate. 27th. Seeing 220 cars. This is legit 20 car. Brandon Proudfoot. Another uncharted car for Stepping Stone Motorsports, running back to back. Proudfoot sharing the track with Josh Sosi. Brandon Proudfoot kicking off the lap time here. Let's see where he goes. Josh Sosi, winner of the 300, will start his lap time now. Keep an eye on this 20 car as he goes through his lap. 1 career win at Gateway last season. Looking for a little bit more. What can he get out of that 20 car tonight? And will it be enough? Proudfoot, 22nd fastest. That's a very narrow line. I don't think that's enough to make it into the field. 22nd fastest overall, a 33.88 for Proudfoot. Josh Sosi, on the other hand, top of the board for the 81 Lady Liberty Motorsports. Looking strong here at Homestead-Miami. Few more drivers that need to go. Lilac Zier needs to go. 50 car chartered in. So Zier is safe. Doesn't have to worry about that stress. Just a matter of when. We're waiting on Zier, Josh Gaiman, and Joel Rodriguez. Selena Thompson will not qualify, has a penalty, will start with the back of the field. And the number 10 for Ascent Racing. Kevin Feemster did not have a chance to qualify. Don't know if he will be able to qualify. And then Joe Rodriguez in the 91 will be the last one to set a lap time. Rudy Valentine in that car last week won the race. Lilac Zier. One lap time and done. Goes fifth fastest. Good lap time for the 50 car. Josh Gaiman trying to do the same thing for Stepping Stone Motorsports. Where does he go? He only goes 10th fastest. Not fast enough. You see Joe Rodriguez sitting on pit lane alone, the last car to attempt to qualify. Where does Rodriguez go? Selena Thompson will start this race with pit lane. McDonald will start 35th in tonight's race. Rodriguez will be the, if he sets this lap time correctly, he'll be the 42nd driver to set a lap time. Action-packed qualifying, a lot of the nerves out of the way early. Rodriguez caught a lot of eyes during the 300 in the duels, trying to qualify for that race. Missed out on that race. Ended up replacing Elias Flores in the 99. Rodriguez in the 91 now. See where he goes for Ascent Racing through 3 and 4. Where does this lap time place Rodriguez? Third fastest. It got tight at the top. And that will be it as far as we are aware of for cars for qualifying. Josh Sosi takes pole ahead of John Hagan, Joe Rodriguez, and Caitlin Height. Connor Morris, Lilac Zier, Shad Swatsworth, Josh Arnold, Seth Wanzing, and Cole Snyder round out the top 10. Looking at uncharted entries that make it in. Based on qualifying, you're looking at Wanzing. You're looking at Callie Height, the 66, qualified 12th in this race. Only those two in the top 20. That is a wild time. William Britton and Caleb Eichler would be the next two. So, Wanzing, Callie Height, William Britton, and Caleb Eichler make the field of the uncharted entries tonight. Blake Galloway will not make it in. Neither will Brennan Proudfoot. Bobby Blowers, Scott Sprinkle, John Smeal, Tommy Withers, Jared Merchant, and Kevin Feemster will all fail to qualify for this race. Actually, got to issue a correction there. Rodriguez is not a chartered car. We've thought that 91 was chartered. That is not the case. So Rodriguez is the top charter, which means that Eichler will not make it in. But that will do it here for qualifying. So now we have warm-up. Warm-up underway here. Gonna be a very interesting 36 car field with Josh Sosi set to lead the way. Pole sitter tonight at Homestead-Miami. And now, final system checks for the 36 car field tonight. Miller Lite number 0 car, Seth Wanzing, safe and sound in this race. beginning here. Final systems checks, a chance to get everything recalibrated and ready to go for this race, especially for those that had to qualify early. A chance to get warmed back up before this 200-mile, 134-lap event, 133-lap event, excuse me. Some information pertinent to this race. Stages are on lap 30 and 75. Stage 1 should be able to be gone through without a pit stop. Stage 2 and Stage 3 will not be that way. A fuel mileage window is between 35 and 39 laps. Partly cloudy skies, but a lot of wind. Again, we'll run through everything here. Race information as we have it. 80 degrees the air temp, 90 degrees the track temp, 17 mile an hour winds. Again, that's aimed southwest at this current time. 53% humidity. It's a pretty sticky track here this evening, and that will change as you see a huge crash on the front straightaway. Again, 133 laps, 200 miles here around Homestead-Miami Speedway. Race 3 of the HTL Cup Series season. I'm Carmen, Sienna. Christina Ryan, again, not here this week, dealing with an illness. We hope she gets better soon. We hope to see her again next week when we head over West Coast towards Fontana. Qualifying completed. Josh Sosi on pole position. Sosi already making himself out to be a serious contender for a championship. There's that 81 car battling, I believe that is with Breo. And warm up here. Less than a minute here left of warm-up, so we hope everyone gets ready to enjoy a 200-mile event here at Homestead-Miami. This track's going to be busy. It hosted Champ Car last week. HTL tonight will host the HTL Cup Series here in a couple weeks as well. For everyone tuning in around the world, it's been a historic weekend that continues here tonight. Kick off a new week of action here on AB and Esports 1. One's getting ready to be complete here. We'll be live again on Wednesday for the ABN Amibus Cup Series from Phoenix. We'll be in Phoenix for a couple days for both the ABN Cup Series and the ABN Champ Car World Series from Phoenix. Warm-up comes to a close. And the track, for the last time before the race comes to a close, goes quiet. Let's look at the starting order. Top 12 on your screen. Josh Sosi, John Hagen at the front of the field. Sosi, first pole position of his career. He denied John Hagen the ability to do so here tonight. Joel Rodriguez and Caitlin Height in row 2. Then Connor Morris and Lilac Zier in row 3. Shad Swatsworth and Josh Arnold row 4. Row 5, Seth Wansing and Cole Snyder. Josh Gaiman and Callie Height in row 6. And 3 of the 4 uncharted cars that made the field were in this top 12. That's how good you had to be in qualifying. We talked about being millimeter perfect in qualifying. That's what that meant here tonight. Pivoting down the lanes here a little bit. Brendan Roberts and Zach Apperson in row 7. Row 8, Zach Meredith, the defending series champion, alongside the season 2 champion, Matthew Boone. Then Ryan Moutre and Kyle Taub in row 9. Row 10, Hunter Peach and Eli Sasek. Row 11, Blake Henderson and William Britton. Britton, he cut off valve for Uncharted Cars in row 11 here tonight. As everyone gets set up and ready to go for this 200-mile event. "36 cars in tonight's field. An extended formation lap here. Again, for those just now tuning in here on a wonderful Monday night for racing, I'm Carmen Sienna. We're glad you're with us here for the third race of the HTL Cup Series season. We've had 2 different winners to kick off the season. Josh Sosi, the driver on pole, won the 300. Rudy Valentine won last week at the Daytona Road Course. Can Sosi become the first driver to win multiple races this season? It took us a while to get to this point last season. Josh Sosi already looking at it after race 3. Rodriguez, Height, Morse, Zier, Swatsworth, Arnold, Wanzing, Snyder, top 10. As we get ready to go. "36 car field. Nine cars failed to qualify. Selena Thompson will start this race from pit lane. Dylan McDonald will start this race in the back of the field. Selena Thompson starting a penalty. Dylan McDonald hit the wall in his qualifying run and did not get us out of valid lap time. Pace car pulls in. To the restart zone they go. Green flag is in the air. The Miami 200 is underway. Opening laps underway here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. The Miami 200 underway. John Hagan took the early lead there ahead of Josh Sosi, who is a bit of the floodgate in the early going, trying to save tires here. Caitlin Height behind him, then Joe Rodriguez sitting in the fourth position ahead of Connor Morris. Swats were 0-1s, and Gaiman Snyder staying in the top 10 at the moment. Zach Meredith making his way forward, as is Callie Height, who lost a spot early on in this race, getting a good run here on the 55 of Josh Arnold. Everyone gravitating towards the inside lane at the moment, minus Moutre and Peach. The 44 and the 1 trying to master that outside lane so far. Moutre went to the outside lane late. Did not work out. Josh Gaiman, we'll see how well he makes that outside lane work. He's, I think, the furthest one ahead, running the outside lane at the moment. Gaiman's gained 2 spots so far from where he started this race. But keep in mind that Gaiman started this race outside the top 10, where most of the frenzy happens. He's behind Seth Wanding, a driver he's seen do really well in this car on Sunday evenings. And right now, Wanding's ahead of him here tonight as well. Again, top 20 all on the left side of your screen so far tonight. A lot of people cheering on the Queen's Design driver of Callie Height as Gaiman and Wanzing get really close to making contact. Wanzing realized he needed to give a little bit more space to Gaiman, who was trying to charge to the inside line. Cole Snyder was going to try to get to the inside as well. Gaiman forced outside once more. That outside lane not hooking up, it seems like, too awful well right now. But again, this is a transitional race. It'll go from day to evening here at the track. So will that outside lane come to form later on? Zier moves to the outside lane and doesn't go all the way to the outside lane. Zier will lose spots. Force 3 wide. Contact there by Meredith. There's Lilac. Zier had to back completely out of it. It forced Meredith to have to take avoiding action. Luckily behind Meredith there was plenty of space, as there had been a breakaway, but that's now closed. And one has to wonder about potential damage to that 17 car. Likewise, Epperson making ways forward. He lost spots early on, but now back where he started. Kyle Taub up 4 spots as well, making moves on that outside lane, and that Marlin's 16 car. Taub tags the outside wall before moving to the inside of Epperson. Frantic work so far in these opening laps. Under pressure now, Josh Sosi, the 300 race winner, being pressured by the 11 of Caitlin Height. And it turns 1 and 2 is battle for second place. Caitlin Height trying to catch up to John Hagan. A little bit of personal beef between Height and Hagan. Stemming from the ABN Cup Series. Social's on the second place, though, and will frustrate the 11 car just a little bit more in stage 1. Sosi already in the playoffs, won the season opener at the Daytona 300. It's a matter of seeing who joins him. Rudy Valentine will not be joining him. Rudy Valentine, a part-time driver, only making a couple of more starts in this season. Sort of holding things off. But Hagan right now has set sail. 1.8 seconds already the gap. There's John Hagan right there. John Hagan got that lead early and has not looked back. Rodriguez trying that outside lane, seeing if it'll work once we've gotten a little bit more heat into these tires. So far, the answer has been no. Pretty resoundingly no. That outside lane has just not come in yet. It has not worked for Josh Gaiman. Josh Gaiman's made all of his passes so far on the inside lane. Same thing with Cole Snyder and Zach Meredith, the 17 car, who has a little bit of damage on the nose of that Camaro because of Lilac Zero having to check up. Got forced to the middle, that 50 car did. Meredith had to struggle to get by. And now you see where it's a little bit more frantic. You're going to see a little bit more use of that outside lane. Taub in the 16, Peach in the 1, teammates there for NFG Motorsports. Sitting just outside the top 10, Josh Arnold in the 55, Callie Height in the 66. Then you have Boone, Apperson, Denny, Peltier, Sharp, Moutre, and Bren Roberts all in this top 20. Bren Roberts is right first, excuse me. Callie Height trying to find a way around. That is 55 of Josh Arnold again. Height looking at the middle of the track. Is the middle the place to be? I don't believe so. Lost a lot of time there on turns 3 and 4 to Arnold, who had stayed hooked to that white line. 3 wide there in the background. Now foreground as Peltier Sharp puts Denny in the middle, 3 wide. Peltier Sharp trying to make 2 for 1 go. She'll make 2 for 1 go around Denny and Apperson. I believe that was Roberts trying to follow suit. Didn't quite get that to happen. Peltier Sharp making moves forward, up to 17th in that 8 car. Peltier Sharp up 10 spots, Denny up 13. Josh Sosi and Caitlin Height still on their own. An issue for Joel Rodriguez has moved him from 4th place, and I think that's why he's tied the wall at least twice. Has dropped him from 4th to 8th place. Morris to 4th, swaps for a top 5. So far in this race, Rodriguez on the verge of losing some what could be critical stage points. Snyder to the inside of Wanzing. Hagan's pulled a 2-second gap on Sosi, who continues to frustrate Caitlin Height. This is a battle for just outside the top 5. Gaiman in the top 5. No, sorry, excuse me, Gaiman in 6th place, trying to make the outside lane work still. He's behind Chad Swatsworth. Those two had a pretty good battle at Darlington last season. Morris runs the middle, Swatsworth runs low, Gaiman runs high. Progressive banking track makes all of those lanes viable here at Homestead-Miami. Right now, the inside lane is the lane that is dominant. Snyder got around Seth Wanzing. Zier on hot pursuit as well. Those that have saved tire early on trying to scamper through and get some stage points. A little bit of contact almost between Swatsworth and Morris. And they will go side by side. Gaiman to the outside lane, and those two battling might give Gaiman a chance here. But then that lane blocks up. And now I think tire wear beginning to pivot towards Gaiman's favor. Again, all 3 cars running completely different lanes, and they'll sit 3 wide here. Down the back straightaway. Gaiman will take 4th place. And Morris might lose 2 spots in one go. Swatsworth actually clears both. The inside lane still works, just needs to avoid getting side drafted. That right side a little bit more sensitive to the side draft. We talked about that at the Daytona 300. And that's what Spotswood was dealing with, having Connor Morris to his right side. Once Morris was distracted by Gaiman, Spotswood could make his way through, and that's what he's done. 4th place for the 18 machine. So Morris drops down a spot there. Gaiman, the outside lane is just not hooked up. A lot of the talk around entering this race was how predominant was that outside lane going to be. The answer is that it's not. Just plain simple, it's not. It is the bottom, in the middle, and then the top lane in that order. The outside lane only works if you're 3 wide and the bottom 2 cars are already side drafting each other. That's the only time it works. We saw that with Gaiman. He had the chance to make it work, and it just never quite paid off. And now Gaiman's back to the bottom here. He's burned off with more of his tires. The outside lane right now just is not working. It isn't working for anybody, and Gaiman's one of the first ones that will try it every single time. Morris, however, struggling. He's burned off his tires a little bit here. And he's falling backwards. Stage 1 ends in 6 laps. So Morris sits in the 6th position. Again, if you wonder where your race leader is at right now, out of turn 2, John Hagan, there's the gap to the top 3. 2.5 the gap. Josh Sosi doing a great job holding on. At the front of the field, passing is critically hard to do. Once you get some dirty air and you put some slipstream in this pack, it gets a little bit easier, but it's even then it's thinned out a little bit here. In the daytime conditions, it will get colder, it will get a little bit easier as this race progresses, but right now drivers are struggling right now. The inside lane's where to go, but it's also been harder to stay on that inside lane as well. You've seen that with Connor Morris as this run progresses. He has not been able to stay there. Neither has Gaiman or Zier, who they've had to constantly move around on the racetrack to try to make something happen. Three laps to go in this first stage of racing. Side by side, Gaiman and Morris. Gaiman doing everything he can to get around Connor Morris. So Connor Morris, respectively, doing everything he can to stay in that 7th spot, or in that 6th spot. And now Gaiman once again to the outside lane. A little bit trouble a little further back. That's Taub and Pelletier Sharp. That's gotten together. A little bit of contact between the 8 and the 16. And the 8 finds the way around for the last stage spot so far with 2 laps to go. Final lap in stage 1. Pelletier Sharp charging forward, attacking Seth Wanzing now. Trying to get some stage points. Pelletier Sharp, the biggest gainer by far. 18 spots gained for car number 8. As Gaiman drops back another spot. Zier's made up 2 spots. Up to 6th. A little bit of loose driving from Hunter Peach. That one car on the inside lane. Trying to make some work happen, and we'll do that against his teammate there. Hagen crossed start finish line, but it's all about getting to the top 10 spots. That's when the checkered flag flies. Peltier Sharp and Wanzing top 10. Wanzing gets the last stage point. And the caution come out for the first time to end stage number 1. John Hagen dominated the first stage. Led every single lap ahead of Josh Sosi, Caitlin Height, Chad Swatsworth, and Cole Snyder. Pace car on track now. We will see pit lane open. We're going to see if we can find, while we're under caution here for the first time, we'll see if we can find a little bit of that contact we saw early on between Peltier Sharp and Kyle Taub. Because it got a little bit close there. This is going into turns 3 and 4. Peltier Sharp tried getting to the inside there at Taub. Taub was also going to the inside lane. Peltier Sharp just had the jump there. Could have been a lot worse, but it wasn't. Peltier Sharp ended up going through there and ended up scoring some pretty decent stage points as a result of that. Cars that have stayed out here under this first stage break, I believe they're coming in this time by, though, will be Angel Santiago and Dylan McDonald. Santiago stays out another lap. This will be interesting. Santiago in the 90 car. Santiago will we're restarting this race without a pit stop. This will be interesting for Santiago. Just looking at the fuel mileage, Santiago will only be able to go a few more laps here as things run right now. Very interesting situation there for the 90 car. It's a bold move. Interesting strategy call. We'll see how it pays off, though. Santiago in the 90 machine will be alongside John Hagen, once again on the outside lane. Caitlin Height on the inside of row 2 alongside Josh Sosi, Chad Swatsworth alongside Cole Snyder. That is your top 6 here for this restart to kick off stage number 2. Stage 2 ends on lap 75. A pit stop will happen in this stage no matter what. Santiago gets a good jump, and away we go. Back underway, and Caitlin Height gets a good run on that inside lane over John Hagen. Santiago immediately goes to the outside lane too, so Caitlin Height will take the lead here, having those fresh tires on that number 11 Toyota. Track position made up early. Hagen's got to have to try and fight for this one if he wants a chance at that 11 and that race lead again here in stage 2. Santiago led laps under caution, will not be able to lead under green. Height leads the first lap of stage 2. Swatsworth likewise on the inside lane will take third place away. Santiago very far on the outside lane, realizing that I believe he's outgunned and outmaneuvered, but strategy-wise, I think it's an interesting call for him to make. We'll see how it plays out for that 90 car. Keep an eye on that 90 car Santiago tonight as things continue to really develop, because a pit stop is required in this stage. You cannot go all the way through without one. So Santiago making a pretty bold call here. Caitlin Height leads the way over Hagen. Swatsworth in second place. Sosi in fourth. Morris in fifth. Santiago on that outside lane, continuing to be passed by cars here. Wanzing up next behind that 90 car. Miller Lite taking on Dunkin' Donuts. That's an interesting combo. Wanzing not able to really get anywhere with the three of Connor Morris. Hunter Peach makes his way around Santiago as well as Cole Snyder. Brendan Roberts sitting in 10th place right now, battling side by side with Josh Gaiman. These two used to battling with each other already. Bringing that battle here to Monday nights as Pelletier Shark goes to the white line, 3 wide. Talk about being comfortable in that car. The 8 car put it 3 wide without thinking twice about it. And it made it work. That 8 car stuck to the bottom almost like glue, but now Brendan Roberts is like, I'll have a piece of that too. There's William Britton in the 68, and they will go almost 4 wide. Santiago looking behind him and seeing the melee as the battle for the lead about to develop. Height and Hagen, again, a personal rivalry between these two. No love lost. Hagen will get the lead back. How physical does Caitlin Height want to be early on? I think the answer is very. Side drafting viciously at the front of the field for the race lead. Height has the advantage into 3 and 4. She's going to viciously side draft once again through 3 and 4 on Hagen. Hagen drifts up. He takes the race lead, but can he hold it from Caitlin Height? Interesting battles throughout the field here. A little further back, Pelletier Sharp in the top 10 now behind William Britton. Santiago has dropped out of this running. Pelletier Sharp battling William Britton there for the 10th spot. Again, top 10 in each stage score points. 10th place scores 1 point. First place scores 10 points. So this battle right here, just as important as the battle at the front. Looking for the back, Rodriguez and Roberts going at it. Rodriguez started near the front of the field and has fallen quite far. That is Roberts and Boone and Rodriguez all together. And just behind them, Kevin Gibney, Callie Height, and Kyle Taub. Not where Callie Height wanted to be early on. 15th place, not where she hoped she would be in this race. Especially after qualifying, top 12. But a late run still to come. Side by side with Gibney. William Britton, fastest lap of the race. That 68 car showing some pace early on. Phenomenal job so far. Britton in 9th. Snyder in 8th. Battle between Peach and Morris goes in Peach's favor. Oh, contact on the outside wall with Hunter Peach. Getting a little bit too greedy with the track. And finding the safe barrier. Down the back straightaway. Trying to force a 3 wide. Sosi in the middle. Wanzing on the bottom. Peach on the outside lane. Wanzing making his way through. Sosi once again, now he's had to deal with that dirty air, struggling in that 81 machine. Not where he wants to be right now. 6th place right now for the 81 car. Lady Liberty Motorsports have 3 of its cars in the top 10. 81 in 6th, the 3 in 7th, and Peltier Sharp in the 8 car in 10th. All 3 of them in this frame. Hagan with the race lead. Cali Heights second. Chad Swatsworth in third. Arrowhead Racing showing up with some serious firepower in this race so far. Dylan McDonald started this race 35th. Currently up to 27th. 9 spots gained. Right now in the early goings. John Hagan looking to have a perfect night if he can tonight. I made this suggestion earlier in pre-race. Those that do well early on typically do not find the ability to do well later in this race with how it transitions from day to evening. Drivers will end up having to chase the cars up just a little bit. You either set up for the heat or you set up for the cooling down conditions. A bit of a gamble. Either way. Right now, Josh Sosi in 6th place. Daytona 300 race winner in the midst of the biggest battle so far in the top 10. Peltier Sharp in 9th, trying to find a way around the 24 into 3. Moves to the inside of her teammate, Connor Morris. Cole Snyder to the far outside lane. Will lose 2 spots in one go if Lady Liberty Motorsports has its way. Peltier Sharp sticks with Morris, helps Morris with some slipstream. A little bit of draft. Doesn't really help Morris out enough. Had to back out there. Got tight out of turn 2. And that cost him momentum down the back straightaway. But Peltier Sharp up to 7th. And charging. That 8 car may have something in this 3rd stage with how that car keeps continuing to improve as this race goes along. Peltier Sharp finding her element. Sosi in 6th place, just ahead. Right behind 2-time HTL Cup Series champion for ARCS and Seth Wanzing. Wanzing doing a good job so far. It's been incident free outside of the stage caution to end stage 1. Stage 2 ends on lap 75. Less than 25 laps until the end of the stage. But again, pit stops will have to happen in this stage. The farthest fuel window margin has us at 39 laps. We went green with 40 laps to go in this stage. 41 to go in this stage, actually. So no one's saving an extra 2-3 laps of fuel under these conditions when it's been green flag running so far. Peltier Sharp to the inside of Sosi. And Sosi not able to really contest Peltier Sharp at all. Sosi lets Peltier Sharp through. Peltier Sharp to the top 6. William Britton in the 10th position trying to score some stage points. Didn't qualify for the 300. Trying to make something out of a race that he typically does well at. And so far, it has been that way. That the car, a little bit of smoke there. Not sure who that was that had that smoke. Not sure if it was Whitlock or Denny, but it seems like somebody tried entering pit lane and may have missed it. Oh, maybe Blake Henderson. Wanzing down pit lane now. So pit stops, they have begun at the front of the field. So who pits when out of the front of the field? They have a pretty comfy lead right now. Hagan, Height, and Swatsworth do. Between Swatsworth and Peach, it's 2.4. And then Peach, really right now, like in the floodgate that we keep talking about. Top 3 get away. They've got that clean real estate. And then 4th place struggles for a little bit until they break away. But by the time they've broken away, the 4th place car's already burned up so much of their front tires, there's nothing they can do about it. So you see the merry-go-round going on right now. Hunter Peach, who tagged the wall earlier in this race, sitting in 4th place, being chased down by the Ada Peltier Sharp, who again looks phenomenal so far in this race. Reminds me of Indianapolis last season. Peltier Sharp really arrived and emerged in that race. We're seeing something similar tonight, and this field continuously just gets harder and harder to win in. So Peltier Sharp continuing to raise the bar for herself as part of Lady Liberty Motorsports here tonight. Chasing down Hunter Peach, who won the last race of Season 3 at Fontana. Peach doing a decent job so far here tonight in the 3rd position as Height comes down pit lane. So Caitlin Height takes a pit stop here, trying to get an undercut on Hagan and Swatsworth. Do any of them cover that off? The answer to that question is no. They stay out. Apperson in. Meredith also in. Hunter Peach undergoing a little more pressure from Peltier Sharp, the French-born driver, in 4th place. Josh Arnold behind Cole Snyder. Brendan Roberts ahead of this entire mass of cars, including Brenton, Morris, Taub, Sasek, Rodriguez, Mitre, and Height. Kelly Height, I should add. In that situation, Hagan finally comes down pit lane. Swatsworth leads a lap. Swatsworth leads over Peach and cautions out. Oh, that's a big time deal. That is a free stop. Why has the caution come out? That puts things on its head. We don't know why the caution came out. It's not popped up on our info sheet, because we may not know. See if we can find something about it here. Morse entered pit lane. Oh, it's for Alfred Denny. We'll see here in this little frame shot, Alfred Denny was spun around backwards. So there's an indication of why the caution came out. Again, out of our viewing range, we were focusing near the front of the field at the time as pit stops were beginning for the leaders. Caution comes out. And it looks like Alfred Denny was at least involved in it. Typically, we'd have 2 sets of cameras, 2 sets of eyes on the field. Again, only 1 set of eyes on this field right now, with Christina Ryan out battling an illness. So, second caution of the race. Puts a kneecap. 2 pit stops here. Now, importantly, the race leaders up until that point, Caitlin Height and John Hagan, did not go a lap down. Caitlin Height, however, did get ahead of John Hagan on that pit stop. The undercut did work. So, caution number 2 for an incident at least involving, it looks like Ryan Pinnell and Alfred Denny, it looked like. Again, we're only having to be able to presume. We saw Denny spun around and Ryan Pinnell off and running slow on the front straightaway, so we have to assume it may be those two. With the caution coming out here early on in this race. Interrupts the green flag pit stop cycle that we had going on. William Britton, Lilac Zier, and Ryan Pinnell. And in a very interesting spot, because now they're in a position where they can try to stretch fuel to get to the end of the stage. The big question mark right now is if those tires are good enough to hold on to stage points at all. Lights still on the safety car here tonight. Hagan coming back down pit lane for service. So Hagan forfeiting a really good chance at stage points at all in this process. Is everyone thrown for a loop tonight? William Britton will lead the field to green. Ahead of Lilac Zier and Ryan Pinnell and Caitlin Height. Brendan Robertson 5th. Then it's Swatsworth, Peach, Snyder, Arnold, and Sosi in the top 10. I have a feeling we're about to see things get a little bit more wild on this restart. Everyone will try to be a little bit more frantic about getting stage points. We'll be going green with 11 laps to go in stage 2. Kicking things off to start stage number 3. In about 11 laps time. In the in-minute period, we're going to see a dogfight for the stage points in stage 2. Britton, Zier, Height, top 3 with Ryan Pinnell in tow. Britton chose the outside lane for this restart. Pace car will pull down into pit lane. 11 to go at the line for stage 2. It's Britton, Zier, Pinnell, and Height, top 4. Green flag back in the air. Oh, car in the wall. Car in the wall, Peach. Hunter Peach in the wall. I believe off the nose of Sosi. And damage to that right front fender of the 1 car. Peach in trouble. Mutrek tags the wall for the back. We talk about frantic. It's frantic outside the stage points. Not even in the stage points. It's all outside of it right now. Inside the stage points, it's easy. It's all outside the top 10. Josh Arnold, Joe Rodriguez, they're at the very edge of this as cars continue to tag the wall down the back straightaway. Rodriguez and Arnold of 91 and 55, they're side by side. That's 9th and 10th in the stage points. They're battling for the last stage point there, but they're behind Eli Sasek, Josh Sosi in 8th. Then you have Ryan Pinnell up ahead of them as well. Pinnell on older tires. Has to hold on to the end of lap 75. 3 wide. Pinnell, Snyder, and Sosi. Pinnell far outside. Old tires. Can't skid down lower. Sosi moves up to 6th. Trying to get around. A lot of trouble further behind. An entire swarm of cars almost had a huge accident. They are 4 wide for 20th place. It is bedlam at the back of the field. At the front, Caitlin Height leads over Zier, Roberts, in Swatsworth. Zier on old tires, trying to hold on to a decent haul of stage points. They are 3 wide behind. This is at the edge of the top 10. This is Arnold moving his way forward. Around Rodriguez and Sasek. Around Rodriguez and Roy and Britton, Sasek still making his way forward as well. That is Josh Gaiman between the two of them. Fastest lap, Chad Swatsworth, 33.28. Electric stuff. In this stage, Little Lewis chasing up the hill, Josh Arnold. 6 to go. There's Kevin Gibney Jr. Sosi just went faster, 33.27. In the 81 car ahead of this. Kevin Gibney Jr. in the top 10. Trying to score some stage points in that 31 machine. Ruby Acosta was in that car as a fill-in driver last week. Gibney missed the race. Battling with Rodriguez side to side. Gibney holds on to 10th at the moment. And will get clear Rodriguez. A frantic restart will thin out in the nick of time, and we just might finish this stage under grade. Starting lap 72. 4 to go. Height leads. Swatsworth second. It's an Arrowhead Racing 1-2. Sosi up to 3rd. Trying to chase down the 2 leading Toyotas. Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford, top 5. But all 3 manufacturers have 2 cars in the top 6. Snyder in 6th, a Chevrolet. Manufacturer parity, as you will. Josh Gaiman trying to hold on ahead of Eli Sasek. He's behind Cole Snyder at the moment. Sasek in 8th, Arnold in 9th, battling with Kevin Gibney Jr. for the 9th spot. Gibney's going to use the inside lane to go around the 55. Then it's Arnold, Rodriguez, Tao, Whitlock, Moutre, Selena Thompson from 36th and last to currently sitting 15th. Not having to worry about saving tire wear at this point, knowing the stage break comes in 2 laps time, 3 miles. John Hagan won stage 1, was leading most of stage 2, decided to come back down pit lane, will not benefit from it. As it stands, we'll end up missing out on stage points here in stage 3 as things continue to run. As we watch Sasek move to the inside of Zier and around Zier, Sasek goes. Those two reach around each other a lot. Sasek goes through. Gibney will try to do the same against an older tire on that 50 car. Swatsworth under pressure from Sosi on this white flag lap in stage 2. They are side by side entering 3, but Sosi not able to really attack the 18 the way he wants to. Height will win stage 2 over Swatsworth and Sosi. And the battle for the last stage point will come to a head here. Rodriguez gets that last point. How we saw green that entire last 11 lap run is insane. That was incredible stuff. Throughout the entire field, all 36 cars take a bow. Because that was something special. Pertinent questions here approaching the third stage now, especially if you're the race leader, Caitlin Height. You pit 11 laps ago, so you come in, use an extra set of tires. I believe so, you would want to, you've got the sets available. It would be hard to imagine that drivers would not come down in this stage, the longest stage of the race coming up. Pit stops ongoing here. Very busy pit lane. And everybody came in. A frantic ending to stage 2. See some cars there ahead, trying to get laps back here. They were pinned a lap down under that last caution during the pit stop sequence. So you're looking at Blake Henderson in that lineup right there. Yeah, Henderson, yeah, Santiago had to come down pit lane, took a gamble and it didn't pay off. There is the 4 of Zach Apperson, the 28 of Matthew Boone, all ahead of the race leader, Caitlin Height. They will try to get a wave around here to get back on the lead lap. All of them would end up on the lead lap again. Only a handful of cars out of this race. It says Henderson's actually down 14 laps. Blake Henderson down a ton of time here. Not sure what happened to Blake Henderson. It says he's well down the order, though. See if that is accurate or not. And I believe Dylan McDonald also out of this race. So McDonald out, Hunter Peach is out. At least according to our screens, he is out. Callie Height repairing damage. Looks like DJ Anderson's out of this race as well. Wave round will happen here as we get ready to approach the green. It's been a phenomenal race so far. It's been a little less hectic at points, a lot more strategy involved, and we're about to see it all kick off here. Lights turn on here at Homestead-Miami as the sun begins to fully set. We will end this race in darkness. Kalen Height and Josh Sosi dressed for the occasion. They will lead us to the green flag. Pace car pulls in. How about we crank it up for the start? Stage 3 is underway. As you saw there, riding on board with Josh Gaiman on board the visor cam as he battled and eventually got around Chad Swatsworth. That was for the third position. Caitlin Height leads the way over Josh Sosi. Then the man center of your screen, Josh Gaiman. Sitting in third position, Chad Swatsworth in fourth. John Hagen back up to the top 5. But now a lot more distant from that race win. A race that looked a lot easier for Hagen in that 64 car at the beginning of this race when he led all 30 laps to win stage 1. Cole Snyder in 6th, Ben Roberts 7th, then Lilac Sear, Eli Sasek, and Joel Rodriguez currently round out your top 10 as things currently stand. For Caitlin Height, it feels like deja vu. It took her 3 races to get her first race win. And that was at Michigan last season. Very similar situation tonight, although Josh Sosi trying to apply pressure to that 11 car. The 11, the 81, duking it out here. Josh Gaiman in third, pulling away from Chad Swatsworth. Swatsworth, bit of a buffer between Gaiman and John Hagen. Hagen trying to find his way into victory lane for the first time for a points race. Has still yet to do so across the ABN Cup Series and the HTL Cup Series. And now sitting in 5th place and being frustrated by the 18 of Swatsworth at the moment. He is 2.5 behind Caitlin Height at the moment. Look to the inside of the 18 of Swatsworth, trying to make a pass happen for 4th place. 2 seconds in hand between them and Bren Roberts further back, who's got his hands full on his own, with Snyder, Zier, and Sasek all in tow. Rodriguez in the top 10 on his own as well. Then you see Peltier Sharp in 11th place, battling with Kyle Taub for that spot. And Taub's going to make his way through. Those two make contact earlier. They find their way back to each other again, just outside the top 10, as you see Bren Roberts. That is blocking Cole Snyder. Went all the way down to the white line trying to block the 24. The 24 said, nah, I'm good. I'm going to keep going. And they're going to stay side by side, and they're going to be elbows out side by side, pushing each other down the front straightaway. Physicality at the fringe of the top 10 as Snyder makes his way on through. Not sure if there's something that happened during the race that potentially has drawn a little bit more, I'd say elbows out's probably the best way to put it, but a little more physical racing between those two. But it's right there in front of Sasek and Zier, who are ready to pounce and capitalize if something goes wrong, if one of those two gets overzealous in one of their moves. 33 laps to go in the Miami 200 here. Homestead-Miami Speedway, just outside the Miami metro area in the suburb of Homestead. Hence the name, for those that weren't aware of where this track is located in comparison to actual Miami. Watching this battle for 6th place, Snyder, Roberts, Sear, and Sasek, as Kevin Gibney Jr. comes down pit lane. He'll be one of the first ones to blink for pit stops in this final stage of racing. And this is where the window is completely open. You can get to the end of the race stopping here. Although I assume most people are going to try to go to about lap 110. The window is open. And for Gibney, that could be a smart move. Undercut worked out phenomenally in stage 2. That's how Caitlin Height got the lead and ended up winning the stage. Was by getting that undercut on John Hagen. Hagen then shot himself in the foot by pitting under that caution again after already pitting. And missing out on stage points altogether. It's part of the reason why Hagen is sitting right now down in 4th position and not really anywhere close. As Caitlin Height comes down. No, never mind. Caitlin Height's not coming down pit lane yet. Saw that indicator at the top of the tower, and I thought she'd come in. No. She's expected to come in here in the next 5 laps, but not in yet. she's right there, center of your screen. Just a little bit of a little glitch in the timing screen. Josh Sosi, though, applying a lot of pressure. Wanzing is in pit lane. So pit stop starting in earnest and moving their way forward in this field. There is Snyder ahead of Roberts, who is starting to fall backwards here. Zier and Sassy trying to find their way through. Selena Thompson down pit lane. Angel Santiago also down pit lane. So several cars making their final stops now, as Roberts tries to defend what appears to be a losing battle at the moment. Roberts had a phenomenal speed weeks in Daytona. Not a bad result so far, but compared to what he saw at Daytona, hoping for a little bit better here tonight, as the lights are firmly on here at Homestead-Miami. Snyder in 6th. Keep an eye on Roberts and Zier as they battle it out. Zier, I think, mostly kind of stuck in that battle with Sasek more than battling, trying to get to Bryn Roberts. Those two won't leave each other alone here. They battle each other a lot in the Formula Atlantic Championship on AV side of things. And here they are battling again. Not the race anyone really wanted to see for Blake Henderson, but for those following along, Henderson down in 33rd position. Just saw him coming out of pit lane there. Figured I'd give an update on him. He was hoping that day would be a really good race for him, and it's gone everything but decent in tonight's event. Ryan Moutre also still in pit lane. Hunter Peach and Dylan McDonald out of this race. Well and truly. 9 cars failed to qualify. The 36 that have been in this race have had an interesting race. Contact between Zier and Sasek, as Bryn Roberts comes down pit lane. That was almost a caution. And wouldn't have that been at the worst possible time? Roberts, Breo, and he step in. But that was almost disastrous for those that were needing to come down pit lane. Sasek gets the position ahead of Zier, but both of them lose time on Bryn Roberts, who now will have an undercut. Do either of them decide to come down pit lane this time? The leaders, all 4 of them, come down pit lane. Height, Sosi, Hagen, and Gaiman. Swatsworth stays out. So will Snyder. 25 to go. A busy pit lane as Zier goes around. Eli Sasek there. Both of them continuing to race it out. Swatsworth at the lead of the race for the moment. Again, pit stops incoming. When does Swatsworth make his? Is it this lap? It is not this lap. He'll stay on another lap. 24 to go at the line. This is shaping up to be a very quintessential Homestead-Miami race. Zier is in this time, as is Joel Rodriguez and DJ Anderson. Coming out of pit lane is Height. Height 11th, last car on the lead lap. Getting those tires up to temperature. Swatsworth will be nice to his teammate there, will not put her a lap down. Swatsworth holds on to the race lead still. Does have Gaiman and Hagen a lap down firmly. If things continue to cycle through, Caitlin Height will re-inherit the race lead whenever the top 10 pit. Actually, no, Sosi got the advantage. But Sosi only took 2 tires on that stop. Caitlin Height took 4 sets of tires. Well, 4 tires, should say. Sosi didn't. Oh, that's going to be interesting. So technically, Sosi will inherit the lead, but will be chased down dramatically by the 11 in these last 22 laps. Swatsworth got passed by Gaiman. Swansworth holds on to the race lead. It's his best bet right now before he has to come down to take fuel. And here comes Swansworth in now. The race leader comes down pit lane. Kyle Tao, does he inherit the race leader, come down pit lane? He will come down pit lane. Ryan Pennell, however, will stay out and will take the race lead. Ryan Pennell, a race leader here tonight at Homestead-Miami. Ahead of Hunter Whitlock by 3.7 seconds. Pennell, Whitlock, Donaldson, all still needing to make a pit stop in this race. Height pursuing Josh Sosi. The gap was 4 seconds. It's already down to 2.6. With 21 laps to go. Ryan Pennell stays out again. Leading some more laps there. Again, we know that Pennell, Whitlock, and Donaldson all need to make a pit stop in this race. The question is a matter of when. But right now, Ryan Pennell looks outstanding. It's high noon somewhere as Ryan Pennell comes down pit lane, locks it up. Can he avoid spinning? He does. And avoids speeding coming down pit lane. He'll lose a little bit of time, but he led laps. They got that car out front and ultimately got through pit lane cleanly. Hunter Whitlock now leading the way in that autism awareness, number 94. Filling in for Chris Pendell. And you're going to see a lot of things move and shake around here as you kind of follow this field through. Does Whitlock come in? Whitlock does come in and hand the lead off to Gary Donaldson, who will lead this race for a lap. 18 to go. Donaldson leads, and then you have to look down towards, I believe Josh Sosi would still be in second place here. Again, a lot of cars sort of swapping positions around here. See if we can get back towards where Sosi is here. This is the battle for provisionally the race lead. Caitlin Height has gotten to the 81, who did not take tires at all on that stop, we got word of. No tires at all on that stop for the 81, who was hoping the time would be worth it. Not worth it enough. Height goes through to re-inherit the race lead when Donaldson comes down pit lane. Donaldson still leads. He's got to make a pit stop, though. Question is when that pit stop occurs. Donaldson leads by 14 seconds. He will not be leading this race much longer. Donaldson's actually down pit lane now. Caitlin Height will inherit the lead of the race with 16 laps to go. Josh Gaiman in pursuit. Sosi's already down to third and will drop down to fourth. Once Hagan gets on through. Hagan took 4 tires as well. Sosi took none. Gamble almost made the gamble work there, but tires a bit too valuable. As Caitlin Height leads by a second over Josh Gaiman. She's coming up to the back of Jake Millsap, that 13 machine. Running along in this race so far. Caitlin Height hoping to have a little bit of reprieve from the 13 machine, who has a little bit of latency there. Millsap looking to stay on the lead lap, but drifts up wide. Will cost about half a tenth there to Height here with 15 to go. Evenly spaced between the top 3. Millsap trying to hang in there. Was hoping to hold on to the lead lap. It will not happen. Height goes through. And now one would have to assume Gaiman might have an easier time now that Millsap's already lost that position. No, Millsap still goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Or tries to. Can't quite get there. Gap went down from a second to 0.8. But now Gaiman still has to navigate that lap car. Lap traffic will be the key to this race in the final stanza. It has been a phenomenal race, a quintessential race at Homestead-Miami that 45 drivers wanted to be a part of. 36 had the ability to. Kaylen Height leads. The gap is closing, though, to 7/10. John Hagan, a full second behind Josh Gaiman. And Josh Sosi, a distant fourth. Bryn Roberts in fifth, as things currently run. .12 to go. The gap stationary right now between 6 and 7/10. Kaylen Height trying to use some clean air to get back that gap that she had lost earlier in this stanza. A little bit further back, Cole Snyder and Eli Sasek and Lilac Zier all battling for position here. Sasek dropping back 1.5 seconds behind Lilac Zier, who's trying to chase down Snyder for the 8th spot. Lily Peltier Sharp in this battle as well. The 8 car trying to hold on to a decent result. 7th place for her right now would be a really decent start. Trying to make it happen, but a lot of hungry competition behind with Snyder and Zier. Snyder looks to the outside lane. Zier will chop to the inside. Did Peltier Sharp only take fuel only? Would have to be a question. Teammates there with Sosi, did they take the same strategy call? And if so, are they seeing the same struggles? Peltier Sharp defending that inside lane, forcing Snyder to take the long way around, and it's not working right now. And it's forcing Snyder to have to battle with Lilac Zier instead. And right now, Zier's going to get through the 50 car to the inside and through for the 8th spot. 10 to go. Sasek again, top 10 for him at the moment. And decently so. He's got a decent amount of pace in hand over Connor Morris. 1.8 seconds over the 3 car. As the 8 and the 50 goes side by side, Zier will make the most of the opportunity and will go through to 7th place. Peltier Sharp may be in danger of dropping down to 9th. A dangerous block there on Cole Snyder. That will not work. Snyder will make his way through. And Snyder chops off Peltier Sharp to let her know he did not appreciate that move. Rules of engagement. More suggestion than anything at this point in the later stages of this race. Outside the top 10, Connor Morris defending. From a defending champion in the RX A Cup Series and Jimmy Breo. That battle is over, though. Breo moves through for what could be his best finish in HTL so far. In 11th place finish is where he's sitting at the moment. At the front of the field, Josh Gaiman. Lap traffic in the middle between Kaylen Height and Josh Gaiman. Kaylen Height had an easy go of it, getting around Angel Santiago. Santiago will make it a little bit easier for Josh Gaiman as well, running the outside lane, letting the leaders have the inside lane. A great move by Santiago here in the later stages. Does not want to be a part of this battle for the race win. Respectable decision there by the 90. Letting Gaiman run for it, letting Height run for it, and he'll let Hagan run for it too. Hagan running there in 3rd place. Santiago stays high. And Santiago, after this corner, will be able to run back down towards the bottom of the track where he'll be more comfortable once Hagan goes through. Hagan losing a little bit of pace, though, in that 64 car. Looks so dominant early on. I said this in the pre-race. Those that look the best at the beginning will not look the best at the end. And that's the way it turned out tonight. Hagan just has no answer right now for Height or Gaiman. With 5 laps to go here at the line. Gaiman's not really had much of an answer for Kaylen Height either. Gap was down as low as 6/10. It's now close to 9/10 now. Actually closer to a second as Gaiman bobbled it into turn 1 and 2. Caitlin Height had this race where it mattered most, and that was at the end, was where that race came alive for the 11 car. Bren Roberts got around Josh Sosi, as has Shad Swatsworth. Sosi down to the 6th position. And again, it is spread out at the front of the field, with Gaiman now a second back, Hagan a further 6/10 away in this race. All three of them looking set for a podium. It's just a matter of figuring out what part of the podium they're going to be standing on tonight. Caitlin Height started off season 3, started off her HTL career, winning her 3rd race of the season. It's race 3 of the season, and we're feeling deja vu. 3 laps to go, 4.5 miles left in the Miami 200 here for HTL. Everything sorting back and forth here with 3 laps to go. Zier getting around Josh Sosi. Sosi on this old tire just has nothing left in the 81 car. There goes Cole Snyder. And with 2 laps to go, I believe he'll be safe enough from Eli Sasek to hold on to 8th place. But that is still a low call for Sosi tonight. Caitlin Height coming out of turn 4. Was frustrated in stage 1 with 1 lap to go, presented by Henderson Graphics. She went from frustrated to defiant. Found the pace later on in this event, as she goes down the back straightaway into 3 and 4 for the final time. 5th place at the 300, last place last week. It's the first challenge by technicality. Caitlin Height wins at Homestead-Miami ahead of Josh Gaiman and John Hagan. And with that win, she ties Dustin Hall on the all-time win list in HTL competition. 8 career wins for Caitlin Height. Tied with only Dustin Hall. We'll get a congratulatory bump there from Josh Gaiman. I believe there'll be a little bit of congratulatory bumping there from Shad Swatsworth coming up there behind. First win for the team. Congratulatory gesture by Swatsworth there and Caitlin Height. Caitlin Height, race winner at Homestead-Miami. And parks it on the start-finish line. A phenomenal race tonight. What a race. We'll see if we can get a hold of some of our podium finishers tonight. We'll see if we can talk to all 3 of them after a pretty emphatic race. And again, congratulatory bump there. And a little bit of congratulatory bump there by Callie Height. Caitlin's partner there giving a congratulatory bump there. Phenomenal stuff. Callie Height did not have the race that she was hoping for tonight. But Caitlin Height, a race winner tonight at Homestead-Miami, a phenomenal race. We'll hear from second place, though, while Caitlin Height debriefs with her team there We'll hear from Josh Gaiman. Josh, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy? Obviously, this race a little bit more difficult. You talk about the aero bubble there and how difficult it was. You got close and then dropped back there, but walked through your race. Competitive all the way through, but just not enough here tonight. Obviously, we saw you try that outside lane early on in this race. Drivers talked about how tight this car was on the bottom especially. Was there anything you could do to try to make that outside lane work tonight? We saw you attempt it, especially in the daytime. Was it something that you even tried to do later on in the race? Did it get better or worse as the race went on?
To make it work, because there's just no turn in on the entry, and the kind of after that you were just kind of at the mercy of, you know, the bumps in the track and all that to try to get it back going again. And then by the end of the race, you know, there's so many marbles built up out of the groove that there's just no chance to do anything.
Well, obviously, this was a frustrating race for you. A second place after having so much pace and having the ability to fight for that race win tonight. We leave the state of Florida finally after 6 weeks of racing. Looking forward to the next few races. We go to a couple of tracks that were a lot of fun last season, Pocono and Fontana. How do you feel about those couple races coming up?
Yeah. Don't remind me about Pocono. But hopefully this one goes a lot better. Fontana is always a blast with this car. It's hopefully we can get some multi-groove racing like I've seen there, you know, in like the OAP series that the ARCS guys put on over the winter. That was probably one of the coolest races I've ever seen with this car. So hopefully we get a car that can get up against the wall or, you know, run down to the bottom. You know, Road America went kind of up and down for me last season, so I think I need to redeem myself a little bit there.
Obviously, a good result here to end out the opening stanza of the season. Second place tonight here for that 61 camp. A phenomenal drive, doing everything you could, and ultimately just have to take those points, all the stage points that came with it, and move on to Pocono next week. You've got a busy slate coming up here for you. Obviously, a lot of stuff obviously going on in ABN and ARCS as well. But before I let you go and let you get ready for another insane week of racing, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, Josh, the floor is yours. Congratulations on another podium result here tonight. Another fantastic way to start off the season.
Yeah, you know, just thank everyone at Stepping Stone. We've been pushing hard, you know, and we've got the JSR Designs guys. They're kind of like they're kind of like our Toro Rosso, you know. It's all the same guys. We all hang out together, so. You know, those guys been, you know, John's been putting in some hard laps, and, you know, I think his luck will turn around eventually here. He's definitely got the speed to do it. He's just got to get the timing and you know, be in the right position at the right time. You know, just thank, you know, 213 Simware, McConey Setup Shop, and W Energy for riding along. You know, thank the HTL guys for putting on a hell of a show every week. It's just a blast and a good atmosphere to come into, you know, with the qualifying format and everything, you know, all going kind of, you know, feeling a lot more like real life, and you know, you for putting on these broadcasts every week.
Yes, we appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun tonight here at Homestead-Miami. Josh Gaiman, second place finish for Stepping Stone Motorsports. Another phenomenal way to leave the state of Florida and head up north towards Pennsylvania here in just 7 days' time. Josh, congrats on the podium. We'll be seeing you again very shortly.
Absolutely.
That was Josh Gaiman, second place finisher. We'll move down the order a little bit. We'll start with John Hagan, and then we'll talk to our race winner here in just a second. But we'll start with John Hagan, who again misses out on a race win, another podium, asking himself, what more can he do? John, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I do.
I can hear it in your voice here. It's another race of what if. You dominated stage 1, led all 30 laps, led over 50 laps in this race, but it all comes apart there in stage 3. Walk us through it. Walk us through what happened here tonight.
So, car felt great. I really got a handle of how to get the car into the corner. I think I found probably the perfect balance of getting it wound up and getting it into the corner turned. And I was really fast getting into 3, but it all fell apart thanks to the iRacing gods, I guess, in stage 2. Well, I was pitting when that caution came out, and so instead of pitting and gambling, risking going a lap down, I just drove through the pits. But I guess it treated me like I was on the lap down or something. I don't know. It made me go behind every single lead lap car, forfeit every single position I had. And from there, I was like, all right, put the blinders on, let's go. And drove up to 14th, I think, in that 9-lap stint before the end of stage 2. And then continued driving hard. Everybody was racing hard. Not a lot of people were giving space. But, I mean, 3rd place after a night like tonight, I can't be too mad. It's just, what do I got to do, right? I feel like this is almost a weekly occurrence now. What do I have to do to put one of these away? But we're not going to hang our heads.
And it's one of those things, we talk about this, you're still hunting for that first win, obviously, between ABN Cup and HTL Cup, but you're consistently getting seconds and thirds. You're consistently being disappointed with 3rd place is a good thing to be disappointed about, because you're in that upper echelon there. Obviously, a phenomenal result tonight for the team, obviously for you as well, and a very challenging series. Again, 45 cars seem to qualify, only 36 make it in, 9 failed to qualify tonight. You qualified well, qualified on the front row, got to the lead early, showed a lot of pace. Looking at the next couple races, you look at Fontana, you look at Pocono being next week. Do you feel comfortable in being able to just keeping this momentum going? Because that 64 car is going to have a breakthrough moment at some point. Do you feel like you're that close to having a breakout moment? Just a second more of pace across the race can get you it.
I don't know. If you look at the stats, I was 5-6 seconds behind the leader starting stage 3, and I ended up 2 seconds back. So it's I know pace is there. I know I can make up spots. When the breakthrough happens, the monkey will be lifted off my shoulders, if that makes sense. Until then, we're just going to keep grinding, I guess.
Well, you did a phenomenal job tonight. Again, having to go from the back of the field back to the front in a car that I, up until that point, saw nothing but clean air. No small feat here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. A 3rd place finish is what you recovered with here tonight. And I would say that is a pretty solid, phenomenal recovery job. All things considered, dropping out of the top 20 down to I think as low as 27th when that restarted. So not a bad effort at all recovering to that point, with Pocono coming up next week. And obviously we'll be seeing you at Phoenix in a couple days time for the ABN Cup Series race there in Arizona. But before we let you go and kind of let you regroup and get ready for the next set of races coming up here, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, John, the floor is yours. Congrats again on a phenomenal podium finish, a well-fought podium finish to get back up to that position. Take a bow there, a great recovery drive, one of the best we've seen so far this season.
I want to shout out Jacob Shangle once again. Thank you for getting me in here. Thank you for believing in me, throw me in these cars. Thank you for my beautiful girlfriend. Stands by me every time I do one of these. And thank you to Stepping Stone, sitting there. We were working together. We were strategizing tonight, especially when I caught up. But yeah, thank you to y'all for throwing on this show.
It's a lot of fun seeing that 64 car race tonight. We got to see a little bit of everything from you here this evening. 3rd place tonight for John Hagan, with a little bit more in store coming up next week in Pocono. John, enjoy it, and we'll be seeing you here in 7 days' time.
Thank you.
That was John Hagan. Race podium of his career, if you would ever want to call it that. Just a summary for him. Another podium, just a little bit further away from the race win tonight for that 64 camp. A phenomenal drive nonetheless. I think he can still take a lot of pride out of how that race went for him. You can hear the dejection in his voice. It's so frustrating being so consistent, but still missing that little bit extra. Tonight it was just wrong place, wrong time that set him backwards. just wild stuff. We'll talk to Caitlin Height here in just a second, getting a chance to take a drink. It's been pretty nonstop for us here in the booth, so give us just a second to recover here. Caitlin, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got ya.
Alrighty. That was a wild race. Frustration in stage 1 turned into triumph in stage 3. That number 11 car looked dressed for the occasion as the lights came on. Walk us through your race. It's Deja Vu, 3rd race of the season, and you're back in victory lane.
Yeah, I don't know, like, in the first stage, I was just sort of a little bit stubborn with shifting and just rode around in fifth, hoping for something to start coming in, but being stuck, like, right behind the rear bumper of Southsea, like, for 25 plus laps, it just absolutely cooked the fronts. Made a bit of a strategy call in stage 2 when I came in and only took 2 tires, and that was actually working really well, even though like there was a caution a lap before. But the key thing was I was on the lead lap when it came out, so I was able to cycle all the way back out to almost the lead, but held on from there, and then it was just hoping there was no more cautions for the rest of the night. So yeah, it was a lot of tire management, a lot of pace management. It was just a one of those nights, really.
One of those nights. It works out well for you. You're now 8 race wins in HTL, tied the most with Dustin Hall there at the top of that leaderboard there. And I mentioned there before, Deja Vu. It took you 3 races to win last season. You found your way this season, kind of shaking off a very disappointing race, a very frustrating race last week at the road course. Being able to shake it off and get back to victory lane with Pocono coming up next. How are you feeling going into that race now that you've broken through and gotten to the win column? You're in the playoffs. That whole stress is out of the way. You've shown, yeah, you still got it. What does Pocono look like for you? Obviously, it wasn't, I think, the strongest race for the 11 car last season. Do you think that you've been able to kind of learn some things and kind of bring things to the Tricky Triangle in next week's race to try to possibly go back to back?
Well, if I remember, I was in the fight for the win until there's an incident in turn 2, but I think that was what happened. I can't remember exactly, but
there's a lot of stuff that happened on the final lap.
Yeah, but yeah, it's depending on the setup and all of that and what we bring to the track. Hopefully there's a little bit more tire fall off and play with that, and times start to drop off, so it's sort of a little bit more fun instead of like the tense managing, like, you know, 1/10 of a gap every like 5 laps. It being able to have a little bit more breathing room is really, really more my speed, but when it's one of these races, it's just sort of a big relief to come out on top that way.
Well, we'll figure out what Pocono brings next season. It was chaos last season. Obviously, you were caught up in some of that chaos there on the ending laps there. But you don't need to worry about that so much anymore. A race win, punch your ticket into the HTL Cup Series playoffs. Once again, race 3 proving very well for the 11 crew here tonight. Before we let you go and celebrate and let you go into the next week here, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, Katie, the floor is yours. Congrats again. 8th career win here in the HTL Cup Series. Tie for the most with the record-breaking win in sight.
Well, first and foremost, I wanted to say this earlier, but big shout out to Dylan McDonald, and with the recent sad news with his family and the passing of his uncle, just want to give a big condolences to him and his family. wishing him and all of them the best. But I also want to give a shout out to Callie, Alexis, also get well soon, Christina and Emily. I know that Christina's not here due to illness, and I hope she starts to feel better. HTL admins for all the work that they do and everything behind the scenes. And I know Blake will appreciate this. Want to give a big shout out to this blueberry pomegranate body armor light that I'm drinking right now, because I didn't have anything to drink beforehand or during, so this is a big relief to have right now.
Well, we'll let you go and recover and celebrate and enjoy the week coming up before Pocono next week. Again, Katie Height, race winner here at Homestead-Miami, 8th career win in HTL Cup Series competition, with the record-breaking win set to come very soon. We have a feeling that 11 car looked phenomenal tonight. Katie, enjoy it. Enjoy the race win. Recover well. Rest up. And we'll see you very soon at Pocono Raceway next Monday.
All right, thank you.
That was Caitlin Height, race winner here tonight. 8th win in HTL competition. The most of all active drivers. Tied the most with Dustin Hall, who has 8 as well in HTL competition. A phenomenal drive is that you see that car stuck there on the front straight away. We'll go see Nick Cam here and pull up the full results of tonight's race. Caitlin Height, a race winner, punches her ticket in, joins Josh Sosi in being in the HTL Cup Series playoffs. Josh Gaiman in 2nd, John Hagan in 3rd, Chad Swatsworth 4th place. A good result again for Arrowhead Racing, keeping that team buoyed up in the team standings. Bren Robertson 5th, and Lilac Sear, Cole Snyder, Josh Sosi, Lily Pelletier Sharp, and Eli Sasek in the top 10. Jerry Breo, Kyle Taub, Zach Apperson, Josh Arnold, and Nathan Estep rounded out the top 15. Seth Wansing in 16th place, a very quiet race to end out that race for him after being in the top 10 in the first couple stages. Connor Morris dropped down significantly. Lady Liberty Motorsports, I think, missed the strategy call there big time. Pelletier Sharp didn't have the pace at the end. Sosi didn't take tires. Morris dropped from 6th all the way down to 17th at the end of the race. Just an overall missed call for that team as a whole. After that, team looked really strong. Again, first half of this race, those that look strong in the first half of this race, I said this in the pre-race, if you look in the first half, chances are you're not going to look that great at the end of the race, and that's what happened to Lady Liberty Motorsports on the nose here tonight. Selena Thompson from 36th to 18th gained 18 spots to finish in 18th place, a good points haul, recovering from having to serve a penalty after earning one from the Daytona Road Course. She moved on to Pocono in 7 days' time with a fresh slate. Zach Meredith and Ryan Pinnell round out the top 20 in this field. Looking a little further down the order here, you got Gary Donaldson, Joel Rodriguez, Elias Flores, DJ Anderson, Hunter Whitlock, 25th, Matthew Boone, the first car, 1 lap down in 26th position, then Angel Santiago, Jake Millsap there, Callie Height in 29th, 1 lap down. You look at all these cars that are stuck 1 lap down, just either cars that were pinned 1 lap down or drivers 1 lap down under that last set of pit stops there. Alfred Denny 6 laps down. We saw him involved in the only incident caution of the race. 6 laps down for him. Blake Henderson, 32nd place for him. One of his worst results in this series. 32nd, a very bad result for Tombstone Motorsports there. 19 laps down. Never fully recovered. Kevin Gibney Jr., 33 laps down from this race. Ryan Moutre, 34th. Hunter Peach, 35th. And last car classified, Dylan McDonald in 36th position. That'll do it from us here tonight at Homestead-Miami Speedway. A very phenomenal race. Very entertaining all the way throughout. We're glad you all joined us for an amazing Monday night of racing. It's been a phenomenal time. Wednesday, we go live 8 p.m. here on ABN Esports 1 for the ABN Box Cup Series at Phoenix. 3 races to go in the chase for the ABN Cup. Who gets a championship? Who gets that glory? We're going to find out in just a few weeks' time. That continues on Wednesday. The ABN Champ Car World Series season concludes on Thursday at Phoenix Raceway as well. And then we go through kicking off another weekend of ARCS action Saturday when we head in for the Saturday Night Showdown competition. Next Monday, programming alert. Next Monday, ABN Esports 1 will be here for the HTL Cup Series race at Pocono Raceway. Afterwards, we will be on ABN Esports 2 for the launch of the Cyberpunk 2077 expansion, Phantom Liberty. We'll be playing a live playthrough on ABN Esports 2 after this race concludes next week. So you're not going to want to miss that. Getting all that out of the way, getting all the promotional stuff out of the way, on behalf of everyone here for HTL and its partners, Henderson Graphics, Deep Racing, and everyone here for ABN and our partners, E83 Flying Machines and Agent Inc., I'm Carmen, Sienna. Thank you all so much for spending your Monday evening with us. Stay safe, stay healthy, have some fun this week. We'll see you on Wednesday in Phoenix. Until then, we'll see you next time.